guys have worked very hard this summer getting the buses ready. We've got a lot of work done. If all our mechanics please stand up. Got Wes Lee. You all know Wes Lee, don't you? You know his cousin is Bruce Lee. I know your own business. I want to thank all my supervisors, Rob, Victoria, Marshall, Daisy. You guys stand up. Let's give them a round of applause for us. So, today we have all of our teacher drivers with us. We went over all the things that you guys are going to go over and open today: confidentiality, sexual use, child neglect, and all that abuse. But we're glad to have you all with us. Now we feel whole this morning. So, welcome to our second day. We have got a lot to go over today. Today's nuts and bolts of what we do as drivers. Okay? So we're going to get started. We've got a guest speaker coming in a little bit later on today. It's going to something new that we're trying. I hope that goes well. But a couple of points that we went over yesterday for those of you that weren't here. Last year we spent a lot of time on reopening plans due to COVID. This year, not so much. The only thing that we're doing to mitigate COVID this year is, and this is a mandate, it's the only mandate we've got in the school system right now. Now that could change, okay? If our politicians decide that it's a mandate instead of a recommendation, then it could change. But as of now, all we are doing is masking students and drivers. Everybody on public transit has to wear masks. Okay, we got masks. You can see Chris for those. We'll have tables set up same way as last year. Correct, Chris?
Yeah, that's in progress.
And Chris will be talking to you a little bit more about that a little bit later. But we're masking and we're doing hand sanitizer as they get on the bus. We're not keeping seating charts. Gotta get in. Yeah. All right. No seating charts, and we're not cleaning. We're not sanitizing the bus. We're still gonna clean our buses. But we're not sanitizing after every run, okay? The AM transfers are going to stay the same as last year. So when you go to your elementaries, you'll go drop off both at Middle and Highs and go on. That's one thing that they wanted to keep the same. So we're going to do that. Even it'll be the same transfers. You know, you can do your own transfers and roll with it. I think that's two of the biggest points that I wanted to get across. The rest of the stuff, like I said yesterday, was just the stuff that teachers are going to get in their opening day trainings. We've got, like I said, we've got a lot to go over today. I'm just running through the agenda with you. We got it there. Yes, if you would, please go ahead and put your cell phones on silent. We had two people that had to get up and sing yesterday because the phones were bringing their presentation. We don't want anybody to sing. Unless it's Victoria.
Unless it's me.
Or Daisy. Or what, Daisy? Okay, so we've got a big agenda here. We're going to have special needs transportation up first. Then we've got student management with and discipline with Marshall. We've got maintenance pre-trip with Mark and Chris. We'll have a little break. We'll do field trips with Daisy. We've got Rob up next. Then Teresa's going to be doing unloading and loading. Pat will be doing pre-trip inspections. Dave will be doing emergency situations. We'll take another little break, and then we have our guest speakers, Operation Lifesavers, coming in around 12 o'clock. And listen, if we get through all this early, I'm going to let you go early today. So hopefully we can get Also want
I
to,
forgot.
where's my trainers at? Pat, Teresa, Dave, you guys stand up. Dave here.
Yes, I'm here.
Let's give them a big round of applause. All right. With that, we're going to get started with special needs. She's going to go over a few things with you. And I tried to get her to sing the national anthem this morning, but she declined. You sure? I mean, I'll give you one. You can do it. Get somebody. You like them a lot?
Good morning, everyone. With that being said, the one person we didn't thank was the head of our nuts and bolts, which is Todd Cobb. Okay, I'm going to start off, guys, with preschool. Preschool is going to begin on the 30th of August. Marshall has redone the timesheets so that for preschool monitors, it's in yellow, adult monitors is in red, and then the drivers for their timesheets. Please kind of notice that I have people turning in adult monitor timesheets for their student monitors. That's why I brought that up. The training will be the same. If you have students on your bus that were a monitor last year, whether they were paid or unpaid, and they would like to do it again, please turn their names in, and I will have the packets ready for the different applications that they're going to need to fill out. There are, as I've stated before, 3 different applications. One is volunteer, which is just a brief form. The other one is a rehire, which means we already have their documents on file and it's not as arduous. And the last one is if they've never been paid before, we want everything. And the one thing that comes in last and is sometimes hard to get a hold of is their Social Security. We need a copy of their card at central office, and sometimes it takes a long time to get that in. And that will hold up their pay. But you guys are really good in turning in their timesheets in a timely fashion so that they can be paid fast. And I don't think we have but 1 or 2 students that really have a lag in their Social Security cards. But if you have issues, please do come and see me. If you have a student on your bus, I'm speaking to the big buses, that you are in question, again as in the past, that you feel maybe special needs, come and see me, and we'll go into the computer and look and see, and I can go over that information with you specifically, so that you will know if you have a child that has an issue you have to be aware of, and you'll know that based on their behavior. So for preschool children, again, like every year, they tell us that there's going to be quite a lot of them. They have said that again. Michelle Pritchard is supposed to be having the teachers at the schools notify me so that I will know who you're going to have on your bus. Very few of them do. So I don't always have that information on hand. But as you get them, like I say, if you'll come and get the applications for your monitors, and then as you are aware of who you have for preschool students, if you'll let me know, so that we can make sure they do have a monitor. They cannot be on your bus without a monitor, and the monitors will be trained. Now, if it's someone that you have in the past who was a monitor, their training will be a lot easier because they've already gone through it. So if you have any questions about preschool or preschool monitors, give me a call or come and see me. On special needs, we kind of stay to ourselves, guys. So, the one thing that you guys need to know is you cannot let a special needs student, if you have one on your bus, you cannot let them off at their home without seeing an adult up to the age of 21. So just because their brother's there or their mother said the aunt can have them, again, you would have that information on your emergency cards. A special need has got to have an adult present. So you cannot just let them off because they're 12 years old, ever. You always have to see someone. So if you're aware that you have them, again, you can come and see me and we'll go over what the issues are with that. Know that you have to see that adult. You can't just drop it. Does anyone have any questions about special needs or preschool? time is short. So I thank you guys very much. Welcome back and
So
hopefully
just
we'll
right
have a
here,
good year.
I'm gonna start probably on time.
Okay, who's next?
I'm probably just gonna start right here, okay?
All right, you just tell me the next one, I'll do the next one.
Where's Stuart Hawk at? I know I asked him to stand up, but I did not mention him. Stuart, where you at?
Back here.
Had to call you out, Marshall, you next. All right, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Everybody's wide awake now, aren't you? Oh, okay. That's all right. I'm not even. I was going to sleep this morning. It's good to see each and every one of you here. Glad you can make it. And just want to say and start out and thank you for being so diligent about doing your job. You know, we've had a tough year going through COVID. All the extra stuff that we had to do, it was quite difficult to navigate all that, but I'll have to say, we come through it very, very well, I believe, and you guys did a great job navigating and coming up with the seating charts and everything that was required of you, and we appreciate you very, very much. That was extra items that was placed on us all, and we just appreciate your professionalism, the way you've handled yourself through it, and it's just been a difficult time, but hopefully we're past that, at least for the most part, and we won't have to revisit that. I just want to talk about some nuts and bolts things this morning about our daily operations. My goal is, in my position, I do daily operations and routing, and we deal with students through write-ups and all that, and I want to be, all of us, I think I can say this for all of us, we want to be a resource to you to help you do your job as good as professionally and as good as you can do your job. We want to be a resource to you and help you as much as we can. And make that as easy on you as we can. We all have regulations and things that are put on us that we have to do, that we're required to do either by law, by policy, or just in procedural operations. But we want to be a resource to you. And when I go in every day, I want to help you. I don't want to do anything to make it harder on you. I want to make it easier on you, and especially to our new drivers that we have. Communication is the key to any successful organization. Communication is also, one of the things that every organization struggles with the most, is communication. So I feel like we have a high level of communication in transportation here in Laurel County, and that's due in most part to Mr. Cox and his leadership and making sure that we can communicate and giving us open lines for that. And so I encourage you on a daily basis to communicate. We ask you to communicate about roads. We ask you to communicate about, student issues and problems. You have to communicate about your bus issues, all of the mechanical things to Mark and different lines of communication with all of your with all of your certifications and everything we need to Rob and Trips, Daisy, and we've got all of these things and all these places we need to communicate. And I think after a while, we finally got to the place where we understand where you need to communicate to. And especially for those of you who have been here a while, we finally got to that place, I think, where we can safely say, you pretty much know what to do, where to communicate to, and that just makes things go a lot smoother also. So we do appreciate that. But I would ask you to communicate everything. Everything that you need to communicate or feel like you need to communicate. If there's a question in your mind about something, should I communicate that or not? Probably just need to go ahead and communicate it. Okay, you have to ask yourself the question. Whether it be with your bus, whether it be with your students, whether it be with your roads, whatever realm it may be, go ahead and communicate. Because that way, that's going to give us the information that we need to help you. Because, I'm not out there on the road like you are. You see what's going on. You have firsthand interaction with your students. You see the roads, you travel those things every day, you know what's going on. You've got contact with your principals, you've got contact with all these people around you, and we are the liaison, if you will, to those people and to those things that you need. So if you can just communicate those things, we appreciate it. So a little bit of housekeeping here, talking about timesheets. Dave, I think you have it pulled up right there. So talking about timesheets just briefly, I do want to say thank you for getting your timesheets in on a timely manner for the most part. You know, we need them due on Friday afternoons, which is difficult for some of you to do. I understand that. Sometimes we have to go over into Monday morning, but usually I see them on Monday morning and I'm able to get those turned into central office as quickly as possible. Thank you for doing such a good job with that. Just a couple of things that we need to tweak just a little bit going into this year. I do have the leeway when I'm doing timesheets to make small corrections. If it's a date correction, if you put time in the wrong spot, I can correct that for you. If you leave your name off, your employee number off, if you leave dates off or something like that, I usually can go ahead and correct those. But I don't like to. I don't like to do a lot of corrections in your timesheets. I'm never gonna, do anything with the time. We may have to shift where it's at or how it's recorded, but, I leave that alone and do that. So a lot of times when the timesheets are turned in, it's easy to forget things. I can tell when some of you figure timesheets out, okay? I can tell. Sometimes it's in the bathroom, sometimes it's while you're on the bus with kids. I'm telling you, you can just tell because you're just like me, you just kind of do it on the fly when you need to do it. But just remember, in the back of your book, if you want to go ahead and turn there, I don't know what page that is, it's in the back there somewhere. You've got a timesheet example there. It might be better to look at that than look at the screen. But page 59. What? 59, page 59. So, for your dates, so on that second section there, like the first section, that's where you record your 4 1/4 hours, okay? You know that. I mean, those of you that have filled timesheets out for a long time, it's 4 1/4 hours. 6 to 8:15, 2:30 to 4:30, whatever you need to record there to get that 4 1/4 hours put in there, that's where that goes. And that's the only time that we can put in that. That's the time you're contracted on. The second section is for your extra hours, okay? That is where you're going to put time past your 4 1/4. So in the morning, if you've got time past 8:15, like I've got an example there, 8:15 to 9:15, that's where you will record that time. Same for the afternoon. If you've got time past 4:30, that's where you're going to record that time, whatever it is, okay? So the extra time is the second box. You need dates in both of those sections, the top and the bottom. And if you're the top 2 sections, I'm going to ask you, if you're not going to put anything in a box for those sections, just represent that with a little tick line. Just draw a little line through it, that's all you got to do. That way we know it's intentionally left blank, okay? So if you put a little check mark or a little line, just like I've got drawn there in those boxes, we know that you meant to leave that blank. Because sometimes we get in a hurry and we forget to write down the time or forget to write down what's going on there, and that way I know that you didn't forget time or whatever. And it's bad when you get your time sheet or when you get your paycheck and you go back and look at it. Oh wait, I'm missing 2 hours. I'm missing whatever. So you got something. Okay. All right. So basically, that's if you're missing time, that's usually where it's at. Is it just you forgot to record or something? Because I don't know unless you tell me.
One of the custodians to please take a 2-wheeler to room 225, please. Need a 2-wheeler to 225. Thank you.
So up there in the top section there, Dave, if you want to pull it down just one time there, you'll see on your example also. If you're going to take a sick day, if you're going to take a sick day, write down sick in that space. Or if you're going to take a personal day, write down personal in that space. Don't just leave that blank. So that we know, because sometimes you'll forget to turn in your sick card, your absentee card, okay? And to keep from that happening, what I've asked you to do is when you fill out the absentee request form, go ahead and turn in your sick card then, so that I can have that, I can go ahead and put it in, and I always check those each time period so that I can make sure that that's getting recorded right also. If we do get those in, if there's a holiday that we're paid for, you just write holiday in that section there. Scroll on down there, Dave. So, let me go about trips just for a second. So right there is where we record our field trip time here. And Daisy can speak a lot more about this, but Todd asked me to go ahead and say this. So, you cannot overlap your regular time and your trip time. So if your regular time in the afternoon stops at 4 o'clock, you can't start your trip at 3:15. Okay? Your trip time and your regular time cannot overlap. So if your time on your time sheet ends, say at 4:30, that's when your trip time needs to start. Okay? If it started a little different, it's a little different than that, that's okay. Okay? Because that's what you need to do. Because that's one of the things in central office that we deal with a lot is overlapping time. You know, you can't get two places at once, basically. So anyway, any questions on that before I go any further? Any questions whatsoever? I think everybody pretty much knows, you know, what to do. So if you have more than one personal day in a row, you've got to have director approval on that, okay? So Mr. Cox will approve that if you have one. Yeah, so they have to have that on file payroll. So don't forget that also, that we need, it's going to be more than one personal day, we've got to have approval, and it's got to be put on file at central office, and we do that, so. Okay, anything else on time sheets? We'll try to move along here. The other thing, I think that's everything I wanted to hit on time sheets. Just remember to sign it before we go away from it. One of the biggest things, put your driver's signature where it says driver there, and the supervisor's signature is in red now, so maybe that was a step to remember. If you have any kind of reimbursements or whatever, they go in that section there. On your trip, when you're recording your field trip time on your time sheet, all you need is your date and your trip number. The calculation will be done at central office. Daisy does all the calculations actually, and then we check at central. But especially now with the new way we're doing trips, you know, that calculation can be a little bit airy. So just that's all you need, trip number and your date on that part right there. Okay. Just a reminder, something that Mr. Cox dealt with yesterday on bus capacities and students who are going to be hauling. I would encourage you to go ahead and just run your full route when you start your school year. We didn't run our full routes because of COVID, and we knew what students were riding and what students wasn't riding. So please, when you pick up your buses, go ahead and run your full route, and you know, just stop where you know to stop. Of course, if you see a student, pick them up. We don't really know exactly who's going to be there yet, but you know, we'll find out quickly after the first day. But just be aware of how it's going to feel. Some of you have been running, you know, with very low numbers on your buses. Some of you have been running up a little bit higher numbers, so it's kind of varied depending on where you are. And we've kind of gotten used to running lighter loads than what we normally do, and that feels good. I mean, we got room, and hey, everything's awesome, but now, you know, we're going to go back to, you know, full capacity. And so realize, you know, that some of your buses hold 78, some of them hold 84, and that's going to feel really, really crowded when we start back. You won't be running a lot of those numbers like that full capacity with most of you, but just realize that it's going to feel a lot different. It's going to feel a lot more crowded. We are going to take a soft stance on masks, on wearing masks. Try to get it awareness as much as you can. If it becomes a huge problem, turn in the student's name. We'll turn that in to the principal just like we did last year, okay? We are not going to do write-ups on not wearing masks, okay? But if it is a problem, and that student becomes a problem, and that mask becomes a point of contention, go ahead and give me the student name, or Mr. Cox's student name, and we'll get those turned into the principals, and we'll make sure that those are taken care of, okay? Remember, we need to use sanitizer when they get on the bus, try to get them to wear their mask, and we'll go forward from there. But that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So let me go to discipline, Dave, if you want to flip down there to the right example. Let me see which one page 66, I think. So if I have to scroll down a couple of places there. Page 66, order 66. There we go. All right. So let's talk about, we're going to turn to page 66. I want to talk briefly about the write-ups. Same thing for the write-ups, pretty much we face with the timesheets. A lot of times, we're in a hurry, we don't completely fill them out. You're going to know that student's name, you're going to know your name, when it says staff name. You're going to know what school the student goes to. You're going to know your bus number. And you're going to know what date it is. You're probably going to know what grade the student is. Grade, if you don't know, that's okay, I can get that. The rest of that top part right there, I'll fill out for you, okay? Don't worry about all the other stuff. But I do need the date of the behavior, and there where it says time, if you can give me a time, great. If you don't know exactly what time it was, write down PM, and let me know whether it was the home route or the transfer route, okay? And that part there, please do that. It helps us tremendously when we start investigating these things. The boxes that are underneath the top part right there, just check the appropriate boxes. This doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. We're not looking for we're just trying to draw a picture here of what went on and exactly what happened. So if you can check those boxes, it will help us. And you may or may not know this, but these on this discipline form here, all of these, you see the codes there. There's like forgot my glasses, but there's numbers and there's little boxes beside each thing, like profanity, abusive, inappropriate language. There's a number and then there's a checkbox. That number corresponds to the student code of conduct. Okay. So each student gets a student code of conduct every year, and that corresponds to that code that's in that book. So that's why those are there, because we're linking it to some kind of violation of student code of conduct. So check those boxes. And then the reason for behavior, just keep the description concise and to the point. Tell us what they did wrong. Sometimes I'll get write-ups in, and we do need to know the whole story. We do need to know everything, all surrounding it. But a lot of times we don't. Just kind of tell us the general situation, what happened. Go ahead and we told you for years, don't put the other student's name on these write-ups. Please put the other students' names on these write-ups, okay? We're changing that. These come straight to me. They don't go to the school anymore. So when I actually put it in the campus, I withhold the other students' names and I email the principal. But the best thing to do is go ahead and write down the other parties involved and put that down, and then give me a brief description of what happened. If it's a really complicated situation and you need to write more, write as much as you can there, flip it over on the back. Give me another sheet of paper, come in and talk to me. A lot of times that's the best way to get it. If it's complicated, say, hey, I need to talk to you today after dispatch. Come on in and we'll sit down and discuss what happened, and we'll do our best to get action on that, whatever that may be. The principal decides, but don't forget to sign it and date it, because this is more or less an affidavit or a statement that will help. Now, one of the things that's in the book that you'll read in the discipline section is, I don't know how I'm doing on time here, can't keep my clock up here. One of the things that write-ups do several things, and I was talking to the driver not too long ago, and he said, I've never heard this. I've never heard anybody say this about write-ups. I want to say it to you. Write-ups do several things. One, it hopefully will take care of the problem, okay? And you may have to do several write-ups, because especially if you've got a student on a regular bus who has special needs because of behavior, they only get 10 write-ups in the whole school year. And I'm talking about in the school, on the bus, and everything. They get 10, and that's it. So principals are going to they're going to budget those write-ups. They're going to budget those times they put those kids off the bus. They may only get kicked off the bus once, okay? But we'll find other ways to deal with those students who might be special needs. For a regular student, and any student, one of the things the write-up does is that it gets the behavior taken care of, hopefully, And you may have to do it multiple times. And I know wears us out, it wears everybody out, but that's the way it's done, okay? And so when we go through the paper trail and we follow the proper channels, I mean, I've proven it over the years that we will get action on these write-ups one way or the other, okay? The second thing it does is it's an official document showing that this is proof, essentially, if you will, of what happened, that the incident did happen. And you're signing off on it, you know, as an adult employee, you're saying, this is what happened, and I'm putting my name to it. So it becomes proof, you know, that the incident actually happened. Then the other thing is there's a lot of students who have problems at home, okay? And sometimes they get missed at school. I mean, you know, they have a lot of students. Each classroom has a lot of students. Sometimes the only place they act out may only be on the bus. They may be great students in school and on the bus, they're not. And so by you reporting their behavior, it also offers an opportunity for that student to get in front of an administrator, principal, and talk to them about their issues. And they're going to dig down into it, they're going to investigate it, they're going to see what happened, and they're going to find out why, hopefully. Why did you act that way? Why did you do that? And so hopefully one of the things a write-up will do, it's not only punitive, but it's also, hopefully what we're going to do is fulfill the real need that student has, is getting them help. You know, getting them the proper attention they need, because a lot of times we know these discipline problems are attention problems, you know, they want attention. So we want to get those students help. And also, the other thing the writer does is it shows that you're actively managing your bus, okay? So you know, you've got a student, you've had issues with him, you've talked to him repeatedly, no action, no help, he's insane, and finally you get frustrated and you say, I'm just going to write him up, I'm just going to write him up, and then you start doing write-ups. Well, when you've had problems, and some of them may be severe, and some things may be going on with other students, bullying, whatever, if you don't write that student up, you know, we can't say that you've been actively, you know, handling that situation. But when you write those students up and do it consistently, instead of out of frustration, you know, it's going to be better because that shows that you're actively managing that bus on a daily basis. We do a good job with this, but there's just some things I wanted to mention and make note of, okay? Any questions on that whatsoever? Not far from being done. Any questions? All right, let me address seating charts just for a minute. We have some new seating charts. Pat, some of the teachers come up with a new seating chart. Thank you. Because it's a little easier. We are going to have to do seating charts, okay? There's a section on this in the book also. If you want to scroll to that day, there's a new seating chart right there too. It's in your book, the new examples back there. I don't know what number it is, but it's there. So, seating charts will be required at the first of every month, okay? When we start school, probably about a 3-week period, 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to need a seating chart, okay? And these are going to be more like, you know, the ones that we're doing before. A lot of times we only get seating charts once a year, but that's really not often enough. As transient as a lot of the population is, as much as people move around, we need it more often than that. For accident purposes, for all kinds of reasons, especially if we have to do we may have to do some contact tracing. But this is the new seating charts that we're asking you to use based on some of the things that the teachers and Pat and some of the others did. Basically, it's the same type of seating chart with the addition of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, okay? You can check off on there when that student writes. If we have to go back, and God forbid we have to go back so if we have to go back to doing seating charts daily, you won't have to do a seating chart every day. You can use this one for the entire week. Does that make sense? Because you can check off those check boxes, and we'll know when that student was writing. So it's going to cut down. And essentially, if you, instead of having 3 a day, you'll have 3 a week. Okay? That makes sense? Mr. Cox, say something.
So, I'm not going to take a lot on this, but the seating charts, okay, they give us a picture of what your numbers are as well. So we can tell who's overloaded, who's underloaded, etc. So we can make decisions on crowding. That's another reason it's important. But what we found found last year was we had a better understanding of where all of our students were in the district, what buses they were on, and we really didn't realize that information was as important as it was. We were getting seating charts every week. And I know that was a big deal, and I had tried all last year to get that taken off of us. But when we really sat down and kind of debriefed on last year, what we did good and what we did different, we felt that the seating charts at least once a month was going to be very beneficial to the operations. So this is not a punishment, okay? We're supposed to have seating charts anyway. But as I was listening to Marshall go over this, just because we're not doing seating charts every single day does not mean that it's not a good idea to know where your students are sitting. Last year, it was mandatory, and you know, I didn't push it a whole lot, didn't say a whole lot about it, we just kind of let it be what it was, but last year was mandatory that they had assigned seats. And I know that that's a tactic that we as drivers use. I did. If they behave, I don't care where they sat. And I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. That's fine. You can move seats, sit where you want to one day, whatever. But I'm telling you, if you have those assigned seats and you know where they're sitting, if there's an incident on the bus, you know who's in that general area. It's just a really good idea to, in my opinion, and I'm not mandating this to you, but I'm telling you, you will be better off, in my opinion. And I know if somebody told me that when I was driving the bus, I thought, man, that's one of the best things I've got for student management. If they're good, I can let them sit where they want to, and it helps. But if you stick on the little things, it's just like discipline, okay? And I can't stress this enough either. If you will ride up and harp over the little things, that's going to give you the capacity with your students on that bus to say, well, guys, if he's going to write me up over throwing a piece of gum wrapper on the floor, what's he going to do if I cuss somebody out or flip somebody off and throw something out the window? If you will harp over the little things, and you experienced drivers know this, I'm talking mainly to our, you know, 1 through 5, 6 year drivers. Because really the last 2 years, you know, those are hyphenated school years. But you experienced drivers know if you do the little things, sitting in the seat, standing up, if you will make a big deal over those things, you're not going to be dealing much with throwing things out the window, flipping people off, cussing them out, fighting, you know, stuff like that. Stay on the little things. Make it a point this year from day one. Pick one thing. Okay? A lot of times we get overwhelmed with everything that we're supposed to do as a driver. But this is my challenge to each of you on the discipline part. If you will stick on just one, and probably the most important is staying in their seats, okay? That would be the easiest one to harp on. If they get up out of their seat, correct them. After about what, Henry? What do you say, about 3 weeks? And that may be a long time. But if you'll stick on that, because we dealt with some of that, Henry and I have. But if you'll stick on that, you'll see some of the other problems that are big blow-ups, you'll see those go away. That's the best advice that I can give you on that. But the seating charts and the assigned seats, I think that's if you're having worries about student management or handling the bus and the kids, if you will give them an assigned seat, number one, it's going to help you know who they are and where they sit. The seating charts are going to give that to you as well. But those are two of the big points that I would like for you to take away from my rant. Okay? So I'll turn it back over.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is that for home run or transfer? Or
Same thing, home transfer, you know, and any other one, you got to get a seating chart for every route.
you got 4 of them.
Not every week,
Every month.
every month, yeah, whatever you have, yeah.
You got them in when you get a new student, how do you know you get a new student? You send them an email, send them a text. And then if you just add them, you just write it in there, okay, all you have to do is just fix that new chart the next time. So if you got it the first time, that's gonna be the big deal. And if you think about it, we were doing that every single day, every round. So, yeah, it's gonna be once a month, it's gonna be what we in school, 9 months, 8, 9? Yeah, so it's 9 times. And we did talk about that, and that is some extra stuff, but we've got a lot, that's gonna help us a lot, it's gonna help you.
So just realize, once you make your initial seating chart out, all you're going to be doing is managing that. You know, it's not going to be like we're starting fresh every single time. Look at the new seating charts, and that should help you do that. So, any other questions? Okay. I'm going to try to wrap this up here. So your handbooks are very, very important. The handbooks that you have in your hand right now. To, you know, the better drivers, you know, we try to highlight the changes in yellow. But I would encourage you to take some time when you're sitting up around, you know, you're waiting on students, or at some point, take some time to go through this entire thing, okay? Just about every question that you have, not all of them, but there's a lot of questions that's going to be answered right out of this book, okay? So look at them, get familiar with them, keep them with you. I would encourage you to do that, because sometimes parents will have questions, sometimes students will have questions, you know, whatever, but it is a good reference, you know, manual for you to keep in hand, to look back at your time sheets, figure out how to fill them out, your seating charts, whatever it may be. Use these things. Don't just set them aside. All of your supplies, okay, your emergency cards, your tree reports, your write-up forms, seating charts, everything is ready in the bus garage, almost. We're still waiting on some emergency cards. So what we've done on emergency cards is we have went ahead and pre-bundled enough of the home emergency cards, the transfer emergency cards, and the alternate stock cards. They're pre-bundled. So all you got to do is pick up a stack. And we're asking you to pick up 1 stack per driver for right now. We're still waiting on the white emergency cards. They should be here. So hopefully they'll be here this week, and we'll have those all available. There's 30-some stacks right now, so the rest of you, we'll have them available when they're made available with us. Oh, they did? Okay, so they called last night about those, so they're working on those, so maybe we'll have them here shortly, maybe today. Everything is there waiting on you. I'm still printing out some seating charts. We had some printer problems, so even though there's a lot of seating charts that are ready, I'm still printing out some. There's plenty there for you. But everything is up there, I think, that you need. For, you know, our veteran drivers, again, I want to thank you for the excellent job that you do on a daily basis. To our new drivers, look forward to working with you. Please know my door's open. The light's on. Please come see me, call me, do whatever you need to do. And let me go back to the seating chart new student in just a minute. So we've got a really good process right now for receiving new students, okay? If you've got a student that rode last year, you're not going to receive a new student notification on them. Probably just need to go ahead and write it down. If they don't show up, you know, to take them off. But we'll be contacting you on remind with new students, just like I did last year. So when I get notified about a new student, I'll be notifying you. Great time, just like Mr. Cox said, to put that down the signature. Oh, yes, there is a copier in the workroom, and when you need to copy something, there's a code there that you just need to hit the log in there, put the code in, and log in, and you can copy whatever you need right there and make more copies of everything that we have. So they're available. You know, that's something new that's been added for your convenience. So that should make it about you. Also, don't forget about the mailboxes that we have there at the bus garage. We noticed a lot of check stubs and a lot of things that didn't get checked at all. There's a lot of stuff left in the mailboxes. Every route has your mailbox is your bus number, okay? So please check those on a regular basis. Sometimes there won't be anything, sometimes there'll be a lot. But if I need to send something to you hard copy and you can't get to the garage or whatever, that's where I'm gonna stick it in the mailbox and it'll be ready there for you. I believe I've covered everything we can cover on there. Yeah. Got any questions, anybody? About anything? All right. Listen, appreciate you guys. Look forward to a great year. I'm very encouraged about going back to normal as we can, and looking at working with you. Okay. All right. You guys have a great one.
Next up, we got the one and only, coming from Cumberland, Kentucky, Mark Yaden.
Hey everybody, for those that are new and might not know me, my name is Mark Yaden, lead mechanic. If you have any questions, always come see me, I'll answer what I can. If not, I'll let Todd answer. Amen. Everybody laugh at that. All right. Page 63 in your book, I'm going to make this short and sweet. If you don't understand anything, feel free to come see me afterwards. Filling out your pre-trips, I think we finally about got it. You'll have a few of them. In the top left-hand corner, you see the red circle, you can't see it there. You can see it on in your handbook. There's a day of the week, Monday through Friday, actually Sunday through Saturday. If they wanted you to write diagonal up through there, they would have a diagonal line that says signature. Some of you are still writing your name diagonal, okay? Very few, but we've done a lot better. Also, some of you still like to average your mileage and go ahead and put it in for the whole week. Then when you have an issue with your bus, you turn it in to me, you've done the road Thursday and Friday, and you busted there every Wednesday. We need to watch this. It's not me, it's Frankfurt. The job is not complete until the paperwork is complete. If the paperwork is not completed correctly, the job is not done correctly. So, but you're doing a really great job. I'd say 97% of you are good to go. This year, when you do leave something out or do it wrong, I will be sending those pre-trips back to you. I'm not going to put them in the file anymore if they're incorrect. And at the top right-hand corner, where it says location, if you're at the bus garage, just put bus garage. If not, put the school that you're running out of, your bus number. And some of you like to sign with initials, and I can't read them. If you have to, print your name to where we can see. Sometimes if you leave your bus number off, and I can't read your signature, y'all heard this last year, I had to start going through and checking mileage to see what bus matches the mileage that's written down. Okay? Now, that's all I got to say about that. Page 38. Just get to hit the highlights here. Reporting damage. All of you already know if you're a new driver, if you have any damage to your bus, incident, whatever, please turn it in, let me know. If you're in an accident, do not move your bus, call dispatch immediately. You all need to read this page right here. I'm not going to read it to you. You all need to read that, follow those instructions. In the middle of the page, there's a notice there. If you get stuck in the ditch, John Henry Smith was his big dually, cannot pull you out, okay? You need to call in, either we'll send a tow truck or a service truck, one of the mechanics will come to you, and we'll assess that situation if we need a tow truck or not. But do not let anyone ever attach to your bus, okay? And then page 39. Bus garage protocol, that is highlighted in yellow. This is not me, this is insurance and OSHA. We need to really be careful about gathering in the garage. know we like, and I understand where everybody comes from. You don't have a break room anymore. Picnic tables are gone. You come in, you're getting ready to run around, or you're getting ready to go on a trip. You got a 30-minute wait. You like to come in, hang out in the garage. That is not acceptable. I'm sorry, but they're going to be hitting hard on that this year. We have the yellow lines, and I am brainstorming to come up with something to make it a place for you all to be. I was going to get with Todd with that, so we are legal, and we're not in compliance and non-compliance with any insurance regulations or OSHA. And let's see. Okay. Inspections. You have an inspection sticker on your bus on the header panel up on top. Please take a look at that. Check your calendars for doctor's appointments and things. If you see that you've got an appointment on that same day that inspection is due, let me know. Let me reschedule your bus. We have to do 6 buses a day. And when you don't bring your bus in when it is scheduled to be here, that puts me on 7 to 8 buses the following day. That makes it hard on us. And, you've got 6 buses and you have roughly 5 hours to get it done in. Because it's 8:30 before we can start. When you all get there, roughly after the morning is over. And then they take an hour for lunch. Buses have to be ready to roll by 2. That's roughly 5 hours to do 6 buses. We're allowed 45 minutes. If I have to do, guys have to do 7 or 8 buses that day, it cuts down on their time, and it just opens up an area for mistakes because they get in a hurry because they got to get them done. And just try to look at that and use it like a doctor's appointment. Put it on your calendar, put it on your phone as a reminder. The day before, hey, your bus inspection's due tomorrow. And let's try to keep that. Other than that, y'all done a great job. And I'm looking forward to working with you. If you're a new driver and have any questions, come see me. Monday and Tuesday is the scheduled to pick up your buses. We still have a few odds and ends we're doing to the buses. If you want to check with me, you can pick them up tomorrow or Wednesday, but you must ask me first because your bus might be one that we're still working on. Any questions? Good day. I'm going to turn it over to my little buddy and my helper. I really appreciate Chris. I can leave the shop if I need to. Somebody give me a good round of applause. I can leave the shop with him and the guys, and I don't have to worry about anything getting done. So I've got a great group of guys, and appreciate Chris for everything he does.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you too. Good morning, everybody. Let's got a few things here. The supplies this year, I'm going to put in the break room, provide masks, hand sanitizer, some cleaning stuff. And if you need any other cleaning supplies or whatever, just come to my window. I've got a new button there. I ain't got a bell, I got a button. And just press it and I'll be at your right there at the window for anything you need. Also, fuel pumps. You're going to need a key this year. So if y'all don't have a key, come see me and I'll get you a key. Those pumps we had a lot of trouble last year. They work off satellites. So I guess it had Chroma too, I guess. I don't know. So that's really all I got. You got any questions? Correct? Yeah, same key you got. If you don't have one, any new drivers don't have one, just come see me. Probably your trainer's already been here. So. Anything else?
We are going to have access to sanitizer.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we will have the same sanitizer that you clean the buses every week. If you want it, let me know and I'll get it for you. You're more welcome to do it. I think it helped out, but that's up to you all. So just let me know. If there's anything out there that you need, just let me know. Appreciate you guys. I love you, man.
different roles in the office. Field trips, phone calls. Yep. But she does a really good job for us, and I appreciate you. Thank you. And now she's gonna go over trips, the new pay wise. All right, I'll let her take it over. Ms. Daisy.
Good morning, guys. Hey, gals. Welcome back. Hopefully this year we'll have a lot of trips and a lot of people doing trips. I know our pay scale has changed. I'm glad everybody wants to do some trips now. Thank you for pulling that up, Marshall. This is one of the big things that I want to talk about is the pay scale. It has changed this year. I've got a lot more work I need to do for myself because I've got a lot of things added to it. You're going to get paid for sit time and you're going to get paid for drive time. If you're doing a trip and it's a take and drop, you're going to get paid 45 cents per mile driving the bus. If you have to wait with them, 6, 8 hours, whatever, you're going to get sit time, which is $12.50 an hour. So that has helped a lot. That's going to be a big change there. So if you're doing an all-day trip, you're going to get better pay. So I'm hoping everybody will do some trips this year and put them around the file. If you've got any questions on that, you can let me know. Any questions here? But as far as the trips, I'm sure we're going to have a lot this year. They're cutting in left and right now. I do have some that has never turned down a trip. I really appreciate that guy. Not about Gracie. Excuse me? That's very loud, but they can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. I talk loud anyway, so I don't want to deaf everybody. Oh, gosh, well, sometimes I have to be loud, guys, in the office, but these two. I know you do. You hear me all the time. Is there any questions? If you're doing trips, please, all trip tickets has to be turned in to me. As preferable as soon as possible. Because I've got a lot of different things I have to do now on getting turned in the central office. So as soon as you get done with that trip, I need that trip ticket. Of course, y'all know I drive a bus, but I've got a box outside my door. Just put them in that. The doors are going to be open until, 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. So just turn them in as soon as possible so I can get it done and get you all paid. Okay? Any more questions? Yeah, the new drivers, if you want to do trips, please get with me. I'll go over a lot of things with you. With the rosters, you have to have a roster, guys. When you're doing a trip and you're pulling in down here at South and they get on the bus and they're sitting anywhere they're not sitting, teachers is getting on with them and they don't have anything, I prefer y'all not to pull out till we have the seating chart ready to go. They do have to wear a mask, so hand sanitizing, so make sure that they do all that before you pull out. Because you never know when you're going to have an accident or something and you need that roster. Yeah, which some of y'all have been doing pretty good with that, not pulling out. Got to get with the coach or the teacher, whoever, to get that roster before you pull out.
I'm gonna get out of here early today, guys.
Thank you, Daisy. Okay, before we take a break, I want to mention a couple of things about field trips. Number one, when you take a trip, it's not your bus. Before you put it back to where you found it, it has to be swept out, okay? Get the garbage out. If you take a football team, a baseball team, it's soccer, they inevitably, every time they get on the bus, it could have been raining. But it's your responsibility, and part of that deal is, and we've never done this, don't want to do it, but if the bus comes back and somebody else has to clean it, we're gonna pay them for cleaning it, not you for the trip. So make sure those trips, when they come back, the trip buses are clean, swept out, ready to go, and fuel. And listen, this includes the T-vans. Okay, if you are asked to take a T-van, make sure if you bring it back, you put fuel in it, okay? And this stuff's not, I'm not harping on you, but we have got to do a good job of that, as you do. But, and it doesn't matter, if you get back at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's got to be fuel, it's got to be cleaned up for the next people, okay? Anything else? Make sure any trips, especially these drivers, if you're driving a van and it's a field trip, those trip tickets have to come to Daisy or you won't get paid, all right? All right, thank you, Miss Daisy. Give Daisy a round of applause, please.